Hey guys, hope you all are having a good Wednesday. Sorry about today. We had kind of a late start. I went out and had dinner with the family and decided to take a little bit of a break here this evening. But we've got kind of a quiet weather pattern, a lot quieter compared to yesterday. We had some severe weather in Alabama and Mississippi. I don't know if any of you followed that. Let me see if I can bring up that chart here and show you what we had yesterday. We had tornadoes in the Jackson, Mississippi area and up into the Huntsville area. And one unfortunate thing about this webcast, I have to cover so much of an area that sometimes I'm going to miss out on covering some of this weather news. And this happened, I think, just after we went off the air. A few high helicity, low Cape supercells went up, and there was a little bit of damage in there and several fatalities, actually. Looking through there, see, they got 2 fatal in the Jackson, Alabama area and 20 injured in Marion. So I did try to pull down the radar data so we could check that out tonight. I wanted to run a special, but NCDC does not have that data cataloged yet. We're going to have to wait till tomorrow. But we're definitely going to do a review of that and check out some of those supercells and see if there's any lessons we could learn from that. Okay, let me check here and make sure audio is good and just do the usual drill here. Looks good. Yeah, Michael saying, had a tornado drop down around North Druid Hills around Atlanta. It was 2 miles from where his mother works. Okay. Looking at a different story tonight, most of the energy has pushed off to the eastern U.S. And what we have now is mostly special weather statements for high winds. Out west we have a winter storm watch, I think that is, and freeze advisories for Tucson. So this is suggesting maybe long wave trough kind of anchored out west. So we'll check that out. In fact, let's go straight to that. This is the 500 millibar heights and vorticity, and I'll start that on right now. Okay, so this is where we're at. Now, if you remember from watching this webcast, where we have the tightest packing of the height lines, which are these black lines here, that's where we have strong height gradients, which are equivalent to pressure gradients. So we can just kind of draw that through, and we can see a jet going from Arizona through Texas up to Pennsylvania. And where they're the tightest, like right here, we have a jet streak. So right now, some of the most dynamic air, some of the strongest ageostrophic motions, those are going to be in the Midwest and the Ohio River Valley area. And you can also see that little area of tight packing of the height lines coincides with being on the south side of these red areas and on the north side of the blue or neutral areas. So also a vorticity gradient there that kind of forms a channel for our jet. And that's another way we can kind of nail down where this jet is if we're missing wind data. So another good example in the Gulf of Alaska here. So where would that jet be? There's the red. Here's the blue out here. So probably looking at kind of a broad core in here. And so the most strongest baroclinicity, the very strongest part of the jet, right there, that's usually going to coincide with your triple point. So if we draw our fronts in the low levels, we're going to be looking at maybe something like that. And maybe an inclusion going up north, something like that. So that's a quick way you can find your fronts at the surface. The same principle in the Midwest. There's the jet streak. So we're going to expect to find the surface fronts maybe like that, maybe like that. But in any case, they're going to kind of focus on this area here. Then the warm front would extend out with one of those solutions there. So this is kind of showing you that a lot of the warm air is just to the southeast of that triple point, and it's helping build this ridging right there. All right, so let's check out the structural picture of the thickness and pressure. So no surprises here. This kind of falls into place what we've seen over the past few days. Cold front from the Carolinas down to the western Gulf Coast. And we've probably got some relief with those Gatlinburg fires. That's located right there. And looks like a good area of, of course I could just definitely look at the radar for that. And yeah, they've had a bit of a squall line go through there. Let me advance this a little bit. Okay, that puts us on right now. So there's our cold front right there. And we're building in high pressure and cold air advection into the Midwest area. Now it looks like that front has outrun that jet streak that I showed you. But this is the 3Z analysis. Things are moving very, very quickly. This is what it looked like at 0Z. So yeah, this coincides a little bit better with where that jet streak is. And you can see the thickness lines come together the tightest in this area here. And then 3 hours later, which is about right now it's focusing on West Virginia and Pennsylvania. So that system is moving very rapidly to the east. So what are we looking at for the forecast? Let's move ahead into tomorrow, what we're going to have for tomorrow's webcast. High pressure over the southeast U.S., cold air advection over the Great Lakes region, and now we're developing this area of cyclogenesis in the southwest U.S. So that's going to be an area we're going to be watching here, because on Saturday, well, on Friday actually, height falls and pressure falls out west, and we're developing that upslope flow and warm air advection in Texas. And then by Saturday, we've got full-blown showers and embedded thunderstorms in this area. And I did take a quick look at the instability, and it doesn't look like this is going to be severe from what I can tell at this point. Now, shear can paint a different picture, as we've seen with Alabama and Mississippi last night, so we'll have to kind of keep an eye on that. But just looking at this, I think we're looking at a lot of cold air, a lot of cool air, a lot of evaporative cooling going on, because the main part of the front is well to the south. Compared with last night, we had the cells closer to the cold front and the actual surface low. So let's see, Sunday things start clearing out for Texas and just kind of high pressure across the U.S. Got our next system moving into the Pacific Northwest, and that's going to be on the nose of a new outbreak. That's going to move into the Central Plains on Tuesday. So this is the GFS forecast for Tuesday. Pretty good outbreak of cold air to the north. And this will probably set up a little bit of a dry line in Texas. Then by Thursday, looks like we got a full-blown system in Minnesota and Iowa. This is a perfect area for blizzard conditions in South Dakota, right there in that area. And our surface cold front is going to look, not too sure where I would place that. Maybe something like that. Maybe the warm front like that, and then the occlusion like that. But right behind it, a lot of cold air advection coming into the central U.S. 540 line all the way down to Texas, into DFW. So that's going to mean probably a lot of 30s for highs. Maybe a little bit above that, because the ground is kind of warm for this time of year. And we can see that pattern just kind of blows up over the Great Lakes. And we've got a new system coming on shore in the Pacific Northwest, and the models are pointing to a lot of cold air generation up in Canada. Let me move this. I think I'm out of the picture here. There we go. A lot of cold air generation out in Canada starting around the 8th through the 15th and 20th, so we're going to be watching for that. And there you can see some of it coming together. Next outbreak coming down on the 14th on the 324-hour GFS, and I think that's about as far as my map goes. Nope, we go a little bit further here. So yeah, we're going to gradually start to get into a wintertime pattern starting in about 5 days or so. So that will be kind of a welcome change as far as I'm concerned. All right, I'll take a look on the chat, and Ron says, what do you see for Southern California on Friday and Saturday? Well, we can take a quick look. Let me dial this back. Friday and Saturday, that's going to be the 3rd and 4th. Okay, so this is Friday. This is Friday morning here. What we're looking at for California, if we're going to do a spot forecast, we've got high pressure over the high deserts of Oregon and Idaho. So this is some very cold air, and you can see the thickness lines, 540 line all the way down to the Mojave Desert and up through Oregon. So that's some very cool and dry air. And you can see the strong pressure gradient into the LA basin area. That's suggestive of, that could be Santa Ana conditions. There's a rule of thumb that they use out there. I forgot the 2 stations. I think one is maybe, I want to say Tonopah or Reno, and the other's LA, and they measure the pressure difference in millibars between those. And that gives them a good rule of thumb whether they're going to get Santa Ana winds firing up. Now, of course, with the GFS, we don't really need those rules of thumb. We can just dial up the wind chart, and I'll do that briefly in a second. But just to take you through the rest of the weekend, here's Saturday, big old 1035 millibar high over Nevada, and things look kind of dry there for California. And then the next system coming into Northern California on Sunday night. So that'll bring, see that? That's the next front coming through on Monday. And let's look at those winds in California for if we have any Santa Ana conditions. And I will say I'm not too familiar with those. I'm a bit rusty since coming out of Nevada back in the 90s. But I'll see what I can figure out here. Let me switch over to the hour by hour charts, and I'll pull that up. And for Santa Ana winds, we're going to be looking at those peaking in the afternoon. So we're looking at 0Z right there. And I do see, see right there, getting 15 to 20 knots out of the northwest. And these are sustained winds. So that does kind of bear watching there. And then let me move ahead to Sunday. I'm sorry, Saturday. And there's the conditions. Okay, looks like things kind of relax a little bit on Saturday there. So looks like Friday is probably going to be the day of stronger winds there. Man, look at those winds out in the Gulf of California. That's the pressure gradient coming in from the north. So even Arizona has a bit of their gradient wind effect going on there. Let me see just how strong those winds get there in that Gulf. See, I'm going to have to go to, I think, 48 hours. Okay, so this is on Friday. Don't have the full force winds in the Gulf yet. Looks like those are focused on Las Vegas. So if you're flying into Vegas on Friday, you probably are going to have a bumpy approach there. And then we saw 30 knots on Saturday, and let's see what it looks like on Sunday. I find these weird areas of the country and weird areas in Mexico, I think they're kind of fascinating for checking out weather. And it looks like, that kind of falls apart on Sunday. So anyway, that was kind of an interesting thing to look at there. Okay. Let me go over to the chat, and things look to be okay. Whoops. Okay, let me fade up the music here because I think we're about done, and I appreciate you watching, and I think we'll be on the same usual schedule, 8 o'clock tomorrow, and we'll see you then. Thanks.